In today's video, we're going to be discussing the pros and cons of owning DVC. So stay tuned. What's up, guys? We did it.
So we've been brainstorming this idea for a couple weeks now. What we ended up with was 8 pros and 5 cons, and I don't think either one of us is saying that we didn't leave off anything.
But I mean, there could be some out there that we just didn't think about,
or that maybe are pros for us and maybe they're not pros for you, or
yeah,
stuff that bothers you that doesn't bother us, or vice versa.
Yep, so let's get into it.
So our first pro was being able to stay in deluxe Disney resorts that you really otherwise wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't want to pay that kind of money to.
Yeah, like $500–600 a night, sometimes more.
Just last year we stayed at the Polynesian, the Boardwalk, Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then we have a room booked for Bay Lake later this year.
And it's a theme park view.
Yeah, and I mean, not like, I think like we stayed at Old Key West, and Old Key West isn't $600 a night, but Polynesian might be $800 a night depending on the time of year. So
yeah,
I know personally we would be on, say, like the monorail, and we'd see people getting off at the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian, and I'd be like, damn, how do people afford that? And now that I think about it, I think the majority, maybe not the majority, but most of them, is that the same thing, majority and most, probably are DVC members, and it kind of helps that cost a little bit.
Either that or they rent the points itself.
Yeah. So with that said, the first con would just be the cost.
Yeah, overall cost of everything. I mean,
it's expensive.
If you don't have that kind of money to put up front all together, then they give you, you know, the DVC loan, which it's okay.
I can't imagine very many people have $18,000, $20,000, $30,000. Just,
I mean, they have some people that have that,
some, but
like,
the majority of people
to
probably
dedicate
don't have
all
that kind of
to
money.
one place, you know, it's just kind of a lot of money, and you know, you have to take that investment. You know, the biggest thing, what we kind of got out of our DVC meeting when we originally had it with our DVC rep was, you know, if you're going to go to Disney, if you're going to use the membership, if you're going to go once a year or twice a year, or,
he said it breaks down to about once every other year you have to go to get the value out of it.
Yeah, and we went 4 times last year, by the way. So it just shows you, like, you know, if you're not the person that's not going to go to the park, or maybe like once every 5 years, maybe that's not a good investment for you. But if you're planning on going every year.
So I think what you just said about the investment is we'll probably be paying on ours for, the loan is for 10 years. I think we'll be paying on ours for like another 2 or 3, but that means that even after, say, after we pay it off, we'll be having it for 40 years. We still have another 44, 45, 46 years to use
the membership. Which is insane, you know. And then you have to think about it too, you know, your rooms are paid for. You have this membership for your points, and your room's paid for. So it's pretty much like,
and from everything I've heard, if you
have
go
a guaranteed
regularly,
vacation.
if you go regularly, say every other year, it takes about 14 years for the average person to kind of get back what they paid, and that's everything, the dues, the payments, you know. We'll get into the dues a little later.
I don't think it's that long. 14.
I don't either. Like,
I think it was like 5 or 6 years if you use it constantly.
Well, that's my next pro, so let's talk about that one now. So one thing that I want to do is I want to keep a running track of how much money we would have spent over the years if we actually stayed in these rooms.
And we only thought of doing this because before we actually committed to doing DVC, we ran into a couple in Starbucks in Magic Kingdom, and you know, we were all like,
they bought it like the year, like what?
The year it came out.
Yeah, whatever that year was.
But they were like so excited to talk to us about it, and we were so grateful for their information and everything, because, you know, that just made our decision, you know, right there. You know, of course we thought about it more, but you know, having people like just wanting to talk to you about it, wanting to give you information, you know it's not a bad investment if you're gonna go.
So last year I kind of ran down the numbers. Copper Creek, $2,500 for a 1-bedroom, $600 for a studio.
And is that one night or is that?
This is like total.
Okay, so how many nights are you?
I do all that.
I know, but like you gotta say, because if you say Copper Creek, $2,500, you're gonna be like, what are you talking about?
So I think we stayed in a 1-bedroom for 2 or 3 nights at Copper Creek.
It was
1 night, 3 nights. 1 night in the studio at Copper Creek was $600. We stayed in the Boardwalk, which was $1,300. That was 2 nights. The Polynesian was $4,000. I think that was 4 or 5 nights that we stayed.
That was 5 nights.
In March. Did I miss any? And that comes out to about $10,000 total.
We didn't pay for any of that.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, I think my point more than anything is that our contract really isn't that much more than that. Like, it's not even double that. So
yeah,
within 3 years we'll probably break even, if you get what I'm saying, in terms of what we would have paid, which we couldn't have paid, versus where we're actually staying. So our next con is the yearly maintenance fees that you have to pay. That fee depends on a couple things. It depends on which resort you're staying in. So we own at Copper Creek, and I don't think ours, if it went up like nothing.
I don't think it went up any this
I think
year.
it went up like a tiny bit, but somewhere like Saratoga that's undergoing a renovation, that may have increased, you know, 6%, 10%, whatever that number is. So that number, depending on how many points you own, could be very high. We don't own that many points, so I think ours came out to like $600-700. And then I've heard people say that it goes up on average 3 to 5%, which I think if you broke it down between every resort year to year, it probably is around that number, but that's not to say that it goes up 3% every year, that for 10 years, well, for 10 years, you're gonna have a 30% increase. That's not how it works. Like we said, you might have 1 year where you do have a 6% increase because of renovations, and then you might have another year where it doesn't increase at all. So over the course of a 10-year period, you might actually see a 2%, 3% raise, not a 30% raise like I've seen some people
say and
speculate.
Everything.
Yeah. So our next pro is member exclusive DVC events. One of those is Painting with a View, which we went to last November.
That's
which
what
is
it was.
Yeah, which is held at
Bay Lake
Tower at the DVC Top of the World. I have a video on that, so I'll go ahead and post it in the comments. Go check it out after this video. But you also have like member exclusive cruises. You have parties, the Moonlight event, which is the park opens for I think you could get in. Yeah, you could get in at 4 o'clock, and then I think the park may actually close at like 8. So you have like 4 hours of total event time plus another 4 hours of like actual park daily operation. But those are free for DVC members as long as you can actually get a
reservation
ticket to attend. Yeah.
And we actually got one for, what is it, April 22nd?
Yeah, 22nd or 23rd. They're always on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
If you have a room booked for the night of the event, you get to reserve your spot earlier than if you don't. So if you don't, I think it's like a week later it opens up. And we personally got lucky that we were able to
just kind of searching one day on our phone. We were like, well, let's go see when the reservation opens in October, because we were planning on going in October. And then we saw, oh, they got
April.
They got one in April. Let's go and try and book so we can bring Livy. And we got it like right away. And we were like, oh my goodness, we're going to Disney.
Not anymore.
And
6 weeks.
So now, hopefully,
They also have they also have special movie screenings. I got an email a couple weeks ago about a screening for, what's that movie, Onward, before it actually hit theaters, for DVC members at the movie theater in Disney Springs. And then you have special tours that you can do. The one that I wrote down was the one I want to do is the Soarin' tour.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it's most Wednesdays throughout the year from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's an hour-long tour, obviously. And they basically talk about the history of the ride, the whole story about how the Imagineer like constructed the ride with those little sticks and stuff like that. Oh
yeah, how it was on the Imagineer.
Yeah, you get to ride the ride. I want to say you actually get to stand in the room and see the ride operate without you actually on it, and just all kind of cool stuff like that.
And that's free to the members.
That's another free DVC member thing. You just have to book within 60 days. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. Now I know we do get discounted merchandise and everything.
Oh, I got that.
Some.
I got that on there. Don't skip. Alright, so the next con is honestly probably the one that frustrated me the most, because I really was not aware of this before
I know what you're going
purchased, and that's just room availability. So the way it works is we own at Copper Creek, so we can book
11
months out. And then if you don't own at a resort, you have to wait for 7 months.
No, if you don't own... Yeah, if you don't own at any other resorts.
Right, so Copper Creek, we can book 11 months, but say if we wanted to book a room at the Polynesian, we'd have to wait for 7 months out. Depending on the time of year, you really don't have an issue at 11 months. I have seen on some occasions people struggle to get certain rooms at 11 months, which I don't
That doesn't make any sense.
Right, it doesn't. But 7 months is the one that's really hard. Now I've seen... we've only owned for a year, but I've kind of made it a point to check like regularly, even though I know we're not going. And there are times of the year where you can get a room for an entire week at 7 months, pretty much anywhere you want, other than say.
But it's at the slowest times of the year and everything. So
like say, you're not gonna be able to do it at the Grand Floridian or Bay Lake or like a really, really popular resort, but at Old Key West or Saratoga or somewhere like that, you probably could. So our next two pros are discounts, so I'll just go ahead and knock both of those out right now. At the majority of dining locations in Disney, you get somewhere between 10 to 20% off your dinner or your lunch or your breakfast or whatever.
And merchandise.
And then you can also purchase a Tables of Wonderland card. I think it's like
150,
I think. And that pretty much gets you 20% at more than 100 table service restaurants in Disney World. To me, the easiest way just to think of it is, say a place like Blaze Pizza in Disney Springs that isn't Disney owned, you're not gonna get a discount. Chicken Guy, you're not gonna get a discount. But places that are actually Disney owned, you should be able to get a...
Yeah, some of them.
Majority of them, you should be able to get a discount.
Yeah. And then like tours and everything, you get discounts on tours.
So like the Keys to the Kingdom tour and Magic Kingdom, you get a discount. You get a discount.
10 or 20%.
Yeah, you get a discount to different just tickets and offers, and then you get the same 10 to 20% discount on merchandise and stuff like that. And then the biggest discount, in my opinion, is the annual pass discount. This is one that we didn't even know about up until a couple weeks ago.
I know, yeah.
So we normally get the platinum pass.
Yeah, that doesn't have any blockouts or anything. It's just everything.
It's $1,295 for the platinum, and then there's like a premier platinum that's $1,295.
I think that's with the water parks, and we don't really go to the water parks.
So for DVC owners, you have special access to what Disney calls the Gold Pass, which is for DVC and Florida residents. And that is only $744.44, which, I mean, you take that off $11.95, that's crazy. That's
insane.
Pretty near 2 for 1, basically. And then if you buy that $744 pass and you want to renew the next year, it's even cheaper. It's only $632.61.
Which is even more insane.
The next con is that you're not eligible for a promotion. So the biggest one here is probably the free dining promotion that you can add on to your room. That one's kind of a myth anyway, in my opinion. There's really, like, if you actually read online, there's really not that many of those packages that's actually available. Like,
no, it's not.
You have to be really freaking lucky to actually get one to begin with. But just any kind of promotion, any kind of room promotion or anything like that,
we wouldn't get any kind of access to, which is totally fine.
You get a lot of discounts with DVC, but some people want the free dining promotion or the other promotion or this or that, you know, so
yeah,
that's something to think about. There are over 350 destinations around the world that you can use your DVC points on. It's a timeshare. I think there's like 6 or 8 in New Orleans alone, where we're from. So that's pretty cool. You know, I don't think we'd ever actually use our points to stay somewhere that's like 20 minutes away from us, but
exactly.
If you wanted, just go back home. But if you wanted a break from Disney and say you wanted to go to Colorado, you know, there's resorts that I've checked that you can use your points for to stay at. So that's pretty cool. And then this one's a little bit off from there, but I forgot to mention it. You can actually use your DVC points to book Disney cruises. You have to pay like a $95 processing fee, and if you actually look it up, it's not like, I don't want to say beneficial, because if you want to do it.
Well,
but
a lot of people like say not to do it.
Yeah, price-wise,
because you're not going to get your money's worth.
Right, price-wise, because these points, like we paid $188 a point. So what you would actually pay in terms of the amount of points you'd have to use.
Yeah, I think it's like what?
It's astronomical.
It's like 75 points or something,
I don't
or
remember,
like 60 points.
Astronomical compared to what you would actually pay to go on a Disney cruise. But that is a cool option.
I mean, if you have points to use,
right,
like if they're expiring or something, like I'd say go for it.
But on a cruise.
But I mean, if you're looking to make that your vacation, I would rather go to Disney World, straight up.
And then the last con I had is you can actually rent DVC points for a cheaper value. This is how we actually got started on DVC to begin with. Not last November, but in November before, so November of 2018. We stayed at Old Key West on rented DVC points, and that's kind of what made us...
That's our like turning point right there. Like, that's when we were like,
holy crap.
All right, we're going to keep doing this. And then we got in a conversation with our DVC rep, and we're like, okay, we're going to do this besides renting.
I think we paid like $1,400 renting to stay at Old Key West. And for us to stay, we originally had rooms at the Pop Century. I think it would have been like $1,100-1,200. So after that point, we were like,
I would rather pay $200 more to stay in a deluxe resort. I mean, if I could.
Oh, no question.
And then we didn't just say like deluxe resort. We talked about like the bus situation and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of
transportation, different factors why we decided to spend a little extra money to go stay at a deluxe resort, which by far the buses from
I wouldn't ever say the bus situation in Disney is like great. Like it's still pretty crappy, especially like at times, but
I mean at different resorts and at different times it's pretty.
The buses at Pop Century are like here, like right there, and then the buses like off screen, and then the buses at like a deluxe resort are like
which is
also
insane,
off screen. You know, like that trip. And this is actually going to get into one of the reasons why I I can't say that renting points isn't a great option, because it is, but there are some like problems with it. So one of the things that we ran into is that we accidentally booked one night short. It was supposed to be 7 nights, and I accidentally did 6 nights, and you can't edit the reservation because you're not the owner of the reservation. It's whoever owns the DVC points.
And we were so last minute with getting that request in that they couldn't get us a room.
And thankfully this didn't happen with us, but I have heard that DVC member, if they're not like an honest person, if they're like an asshole, they can yank that reservation. So when you get there, there's nothing.
Or if they don't pay their dues, or
they can,
you know, or if
Disney
they didn't
yank
pay,
the points.
they can cancel your trip right then and there, and you paid all this money.
And you'll never know about it. You won't get your money back.
No, you don't. There's no kind of...
And when we did that, we stayed at Old Key West for those 6-7 nights, whatever it was. And then we stayed at Pop Century that last night, and like, let me tell you, like, I remember sitting at the food court that last night, and I was like, overload in my head. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. And I'm someone that has stayed at Pop Century and the All Stars.
Oh yeah, and we stayed there so many times growing up. And you know, I told Jonathan, I don't think I've ever stayed at another Disney resort besides, you know, the value resorts, except before they renovated. Something about
sorry, our battery died. But no, she was just saying that she had never stayed at a deluxe resort like that, and
besides like the Polynesian before they like renovated it.
And it like you're to me anyway, your vacation is just so much nicer to me.
I mean, you don't have so many people.
Yeah.
You know, value resorts are great, and I'm not bashing any of them because they're great. They're great for families. They're great for, you know, people trying to, you know, go to Disney and, you know, on a budget. But it's just like, once you stay at one of those deluxe resorts or even moderate resorts, it's like,
yeah, you don't want to go back.
It's like, what? What is this life?
All right, so my last pro is the non-Disney, well, the Disney-owned properties not on Disney site. That is Aulani in Hawaii. That is Vero Beach, also in Florida. Then Hilton Head in South Carolina. Those are all Disney-owned DVC properties. So it's like you're going, not like you're going to Disney, but it's like you're staying at a Disney resort, because it is a Disney resort.
Yep.
And who doesn't want to go to Hawaii? And you can book those rooms.
You don't want to go to Hawaii.
I want to go to Hawaii. And you can book those rooms on your DVC points.
Yeah.
So, and then that's another thing, that if you decide one year that, hey, I don't feel like going to Disney this year, maybe not go to Aulani, but go to Hilton Head or go to Vero Beach or something like that, you know, and you'll still have loads of fun. Like, I actually want to go.
Yeah, I want to go to Hilton Head. I want to see what that's about.
And I want to check it out.
Beach. I definitely want to go to Aulani so bad. And I really want to go to Grand Californian so bad. Maybe next year, we'll see. Stay tuned.
All right, guys, so that's our pro and con list. Go ahead and drop down in the comments if you think we forgot anything, because we probably definitely did.
And why don't you drop down in the comments as well of where you stayed at, maybe any deluxe resorts or anything, or if you're interested in getting it and you want some more information.
If you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're at 920 subscribers. We're 80 away from 1,000.
Yay.
So help us out.
So yeah, let us know, and
hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Bye.
Bye.